guys, this is Comic Uno, episode 40, and yes, this is the only show I did this week because I did take a little hiatus on my channel, so there are no in-depth reviews. Everything is exclusive for the show, and it's very late. Usually I do the show on Thursday. It is Monday, but I did want to tell my opinions for the comics this week, so I was like, let me do this Monday. I actually went to Florida this weekend, so I did not have any time to actually review these comics. The only review I did do was Arrow, because I ended up watching the episode and was able to tape it, which took all night to even upload onto my channel. But I did have time to read all my comics, and it's really weird to read all my comics sporadically because I usually binge read everything, so it's strangely weird to read all 14 comics in a sporadic period, reading 2 comics at once and not really 14 comics at once. So I just want to say that. But yes, there are 14 comics this week. I do have a couple indies, but I did get mostly printed because I, wasn't really around my computer that often this weekend. The only digital comic I got was Robin Hood, and that was only because my comic book store didn't have it this week and they're ordering it for me for next week. So everything I got was printed this week, even though I did get some indies. Alright, so let's start with number 14. What was my worst pick of the week? Which is Lazarus, issue 7. Yeah, so this was Lazarus. Honestly, this is weird, because I do like Lazarus as a series, and that's why I'm keeping it for a little while. But this wasn't that great. We explored a little bit about Forever's character, which I feel like we know enough of about her family. Alright, the family sucks, pretty much. They only care about their children, they only care about their nation. And the one thing I did like about this issue, though, was the comparison of this weird family that we're following now, which I don't really get, but the comparison in them and how they adopt people, which actually Forever is adopted. She doesn't know that, but she's adopted. Audience knows that. So we get to see these people that aren't even blood relatives, and then them calling them father, daughter. Really, I thought was a strong, imagery and a strong parallel to what Forever's family is. This peasant family compared to this royal family and how they treat each other really differently. That's the one thing I really liked about this issue. Now, what I didn't like, I thought it was kind of boring, honestly. Other than the parallels, nothing's really going on. I mean, I get the parallels of the other family, but why are they in this story? Like, what makes them important? Why introduce them in issue 6? Why not introduce them in issue 1? And then I feel like the main arc, I don't really know where it's going. I don't really truly think there is a main arc right now. I think the art is pretty dark. That has been a complaint about the series. I do want to see their faces a little bit, and I really can't because it's such dark art over here. So if you like dark art, for me, I'm more of a person that likes lighter art, so for me that is a little annoying to see, but it fits the series. But the story was a little bit better to be okay. But yeah, the story was lacking this issue. Not a horrible issue, but not a great issue either. I can't say to pick this one up. So I'm going to give this 2.5 stars. It wasn't that great this time. I'm going to give it a couple more issues digitally, but if it doesn't progress, I might have to drop this series, just because it hasn't been progressing, and it's actually been on my bottom twice now. So if I see something's really recurring on my worst pick of the week, obviously there's a reason. So I'm going to give it a couple more issues, maybe 1 or 2 more issues, and see where that goes. Alright, number 13, we are up to Nova, issue 15. This is an issue, really a story arc that has been okay, really, which is weird to see Nova so low, because Nova is usually either on the top 5 or close to it. There's been times Nova has been the pick of the week, but the art change really, I think, drastically changes the flow of the series. It's thinner, honestly, really thin. I like the cartoony art we used to get with Nova. I think this looked better than the last issue. I think it's the same artist, but it does look a little bit better, a little bit more cartoonier, a little bit more brighter with this issue. But honestly, the story in general, I don't care about Beta Ray Bill, don't really care the people they're chasing. I like the second half where he goes back to school, he's trying to get attendance, he's trying to get away with things. He also has that kind of love interest friend person that took care of his sister. So I do like the groundedness of this series, but the space story just wasn't really interesting me. There was nothing that pulled me to the story. Then the art's also another thing that just didn't pull me to the story. So out of all the issues I read, I thought this was a weak issue. I'm going to give it 3 stars, and honestly leaning more towards don't pick it up. I don't think you really need to pick up this story arc right now. Art's different, the story's you know, and I've definitely read better with Nova. So disappointed with this issue because I want to read good Nova because the series has been really great. But it seems like a weak story arc. Alright, so that was number 13. Alright, number 12 is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, issue 1. Yes, I did get this series. I have not read any Buffy the Vampire Slayer issues, so that is one thing. I'm reading this in New Reader Friendly, but this is issue 1, it's season 10. So I was like, you know what, if I'm going to read Buffy, I should read it from this point and see where it goes. And then it's Christos Gage, who's a really cool writer too. I've read, you know, a lot of his work. I think he's a cool writer. So I was like, cool, it's, you know, a good creative team. It seems like a good jumping on point. Why not get it? And I've actually wanted to get into the Buffy series because I've watched every episode. So I was like, why not get into this series? So in this issue, we get to see that these vampires Buffy is teaming up with are friendly, but not so friendly. And we get to see where these characters have left off. Xander, he's seen Ghost Anna for some reason. We don't know why. That's pretty much it. What's going on. They're fighting these random vampires. Faith comes in the end, so I think they're just trying to tie that in with the Angel of Faith series coming in. And also, we had Giles die, I guess, a couple issues ago, because, again, I haven't read Season 9, so I'm guessing he died. And now he's back as a kid version, so he's still alive, and really like the emotional hug we got there with Buffy and Giles. And that's what happens with this issue, nothing too crazy. And that's actually my complaint. I thought not a lot of stuff happened. Even as a new reader, I'm like, where is this story going? And now there's those seeds really planted, no real story arc going on. And even as a new reader, I didn't feel like they were really repeating anything either to tell me, oh, this is what's going on. And, like, I didn't feel like I was learning anything either. Just kind of, hey, this is happening, they're fighting vampires, and that's it. And I think they're trying to go back to this grounded, you know, grounded story, which I don't think it's that grounded. It doesn't really feel like the show to me. I think there's a lot still going on with this comic, which is really a disappointment. If they want to go grounded, not this. It's still not grounded enough because it seems like they want to go grounded, but it's not really grounded. Again, I just wasn't totally interested with this issue, but there are some cool character moments, again, with Anya seeing Xander. Love the Giles in Buffy moment, so there are some cool character moments. The art's actually pretty good too, so it's not a bad issue, just something that didn't totally interest me to say, hey, I need to pick up issue 2. I might give issue 2 a chance depending on the week, but I don't know. This really didn't tempt me to get the next issue, so I'm going to give this a 3.5. It was an okay issue, but definitely more towards the bottom of this week. Maybe because I did expect a little bit more with the Buffy series because I've been hearing so many good things about it. Alright, number 11 is Seekers of the Weird, Disney Kingdoms. Issue 1 totally impressed me, and then issue 2 was like, oh, it's okay. Now issue 3 was just totally forgettable. That's the best way to put it. It's, you know, our two main characters going to room to room, finding out a little bit about the origins, and in the end, they're going to be badasses and get some weapon stuff to save their parents. So I thought that was a cool last page, but honestly, I actually forgot to put it in my, you know, usually I put the grades all on my iPad, and I guess because I was reading it sporadically, I forgot to put this, this comic in. I'm like, wait, I forgot to put Seekers of the Weird. I totally forgot that even came out this week. So it's a very forgettable issue, and that's why it is lower. Even though the story is kind of cool, you know, obviously it's still good enough to pick up. It's like a 5-issue miniseries, and I love Disney, so it's kind of cool to see all that magic stuff. And the characters are interesting. Art's actually really good too, but it's so forgettable. Nothing really happened in this issue that really blew me away at all, or even made me remember this issue out of 14 comics that I sporadically read this week. I totally forgot what happened. And then I really had to look. It's like, oh yeah, this came out. This is what happened. Got ya. Again, I wouldn't even remember this came out this week, and I've read it this week. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5 because the ending was good. Art is good, characters are good, but the story needs to be interesting. And so far, it's not totally interesting. At least as interesting as issue 1 was, because I still remember what happened in issue 1. Issue 2, I really don't remember what happened that much, because I read so many comics. Issue 3, I forgot in 1 week. So this story has to get a little bit more interesting to catch people's eyes, because they have the foundation. They just need to get the story going. All right. Number 10 is Supergirl, issue 29. Yes, so this is part of the Red Lantern, Red Daughter of Krypton story arc. This is issue 2, I think now. Last issue was Red Lantern issue. Now this issue is 2. This is actually a lot better than last issue. Last issue I thought was just okay. Still didn't really understand why she became a Red Lantern. We still don't understand why she became a Red Lantern in this issue either. But I really liked the Civil Banshee story. I thought it was really good. Is it, oh my god, Supergirl's awesome again? No. But it's actually a really okay issue. A lot better than it has been. Again, I think the last issue was about a 3. Now it's a 3.5, so it's getting better. I think the Red Lantern story is a good thing for Supergirl. Art's pretty good. I do like the art, so that's another good thing with the series. And again, Civil Banshee was really cool. And I read Supergirl for a while. I read maybe like 15 issues. Then I did drop it. So I've read the series. I know who Silver Banshee is. She was a friend. I got to see that progression. And it's cool to see where she is at now. And she sees her friends like, oh, you're the only one that I really liked. The only one I could really talk to because of my powers. I knew you weren't going to get hurt. And now you see how, Silver Banshee is hurting because now what happened to her friend? She's going crazy and wants to kill her. So I did like this issue for Silver Banshee, but is that a good thing to say about Supergirl? Supergirl's hardly in this issue, and I like this issue better. Again, big Supergirl fan, not a big New 52 Supergirl fan, but I'm hoping her character gets better with this interesting Red Lantern story. So, also, only a $2.99 book, so that helps too. So yeah, I'm going to give this a 3.5. I think it was actually a lot better than the series has been, but that is mostly because of Silver Banshee. But it is a really interesting story. I do recommend this issue. It's pretty good. So I'm going to give that 3.5. Alright, next is number 9. And that is Superman Unchained, issue 6. Yeah, this was a cool story. I did like it. It almost got 4 stars, but then I was starting to think what actually happened in this story. Still nothing. That is something in Superman Unchained that I have been complaining about, is that nothing's truly happening in the story that's so interesting. I feel like I've been saying that about a lot of comics this week. Like, the characters are interesting, there's stuff there, but where's the story going? And that's how Superman Unchained does feel. We have this, the big guy, the villain, who I can't even remember his name at all. We have the villain trying to kill Superman now, but he's like, I think we could have been friends, but now you're screwing everything up. And now, Superman does team up with Lois Lane. She had the crystal that stops all this nuclear war. So we do get to see them team up. I thought that was interesting, just to see Lois Lane and Superman together again. And Lois Lane actually ends up in the Fortress of Solitude, which was cool. So we're getting to see that connection a little bit more. But we get to see General Lane is going to attack the Fortress of Solitude. So that was our cliffhanger. Cool issue, main story forgettable. I don't really care about the nuclear bomb thing where I don't care. I don't really care about the villain, but I care about Superman and Lois Lane. Art is obviously great, Jim Lee, and I do like the series, but if it wasn't a miniseries, I probably would have dropped it already. There's no true pull. Again, the cliffhanger is pretty cool, but where's that core of the story? Why should I care about this crystal? Why should I care about this villain? They really didn't make me care at all throughout the series yet. But still a really cool issue because we get to see Lois Lane and Superman together, and it feels like old times in a way. And I like that Lois is a main focus of this series, so I like that she has a part to do, especially since her father is kind of the villain of this series. Art's great, cliffhanger was good, so I'm going to give it a 3.5. I thought it was okay. She definitely worth picking up, but still needs to get there, especially as a Scott Snyder, Jim Lee book. I think this should be better, and it's just not. And if it wasn't a miniseries, like I said, there's nothing pulling me to get this next issue. What's pulling me now is just to finish the miniseries. Alright, let's see, what number are we up to? We're up to number 8, which is Wolverine XMen, issue 2. Now, this story is actually pretty interesting. I did like this a lot. And as we said in issue 1, it's more of a focus with the students, which is pretty cool to see, since Wolverine XMen Volume 1 was about the teachers, and now Amazing X-Men's about that. And now we're getting to see more of the students. So we get to see that Quentin's destiny is to get the Phoenix, and now there's this new corporation trying to gain all possible people that could be part of the Phoenix. So Quentin Quire goes towards them, and that's really the story arc. We get to see that. It's more of a Quentin story arc. And there are other things going on, like Edie is being upset about everything in this issue. And let me just say, that's so out of character. She's attacking Armor in a way and saying, why are you talking to me like that? Like, why are you telling us all this stuff? And like really attacking her for no reason. And I think that's pretty out of character for Edie. Like, I know she's kind of an outlandish character now, but not that outlandish. Why just yell for no reason? Like, well, I'm not yelling because of Quentin, I just don't like it here. And that's it. It's really out of character for her. So I didn't really like the Edie part. Quentin was really cool. I liked the story arc in general. I really liked the Phoenix Corporation. I think it's something different. Even though it's something really old with the Phoenix that we've seen 1,000 times, they're making it original, and I really like that. Art's pretty cool for the series, which is a big improvement of what we got with the old Wolverine XMen series. But we also get to see the future Quentin Quire, which I didn't quite care about. And also the Wolverine story wasn't actually that interesting. He's talking about Jean Grey. I have to, you know, be okay for her. I need to protect her legacy, pretty much. I've seen this 1,000 times. I really didn't care about Wolverine. What I cared about was the Phoenix Corps and the Quentin Quire story, the art. Thought that was very good. So I'm going to give it a 3.5. Or, you know, there are some stuff that is a little boring side, like the Wolverine story that I feel like we've seen 1,000 times. But this is a good issue and a really, I think, original issue. So I'm going to give it a 3.5. I thought this was a cool issue. I think you should definitely pick it up. Alright, so that was number 8, I think. Pretty sure. Let's see. That was number 8. So now we're up to number 7, which is the only digital comic I got, which was Robin Hood Legends, issue 1. This is not the first Robin Hood issue I read. I did read the first issue ever. That was the only issue I did read. And everyone Frontline's been telling me that Robin Hood's a great series. And I gotta say, this was a cool, fun series. And what everyone's been saying for Frontline is it's really new reader friendly. And I would say, yeah, it is really new reader friendly. I cared about Robin Hood's character in general throughout this whole issue. She was vanquished on Earth, and she can't go back to her land of this mystic place. Again, I've never read any of the Xenoscope stuff, so I can't tell you what this mystic place is. And one of her friends, and I guess lovers, actually died also, and he comes back to life, and Robin Hood was grieving throughout this whole period, and now sees him. And she's a very tough character. What I read with the first issue, she's a very tough character. She's gone through a lot, so it's hard to forgive him. And I think by the end of this this miniseries, we will see that her forgiving him. So we get to see them go back to the world, and this is the first time she's chosen to go to the world to stop evil. So that's what we get to see in the issue. I really like this issue because I enjoyed Robin Hood a lot here. The art was really cool. And it really made me want to pick up the next issue. The only thing I thought was kind of iffy of this issue as a new reader, I didn't really care about the other characters. The villain, like, I knew who they were, but I didn't really care about the love interest. Like, I feel like if I read the previous issues, I would, but with this first issue, I didn't really care about them. And hopefully, as the miniseries goes on, I will have some cool moments with them. I will care about them. But Robin Hood was really cool here. Made me want to pick up the next issue. Very solid issue. Good art. I'm going to give it 4 stars. Really enjoyed this one. Solid read, especially as a new reader. This is very new reader friendly, which I agree with everyone on Frontline. This is, Pat Chan is a really good writer, especially for new readers, so pick that up. Really enjoyed the issues, so hopefully we'll learn about those other characters for me to give this an even higher grade. Alright, so number 6 is Superior Foes of Spider-Man, issue 10. A little bit of a filler issue, I will give you that. That's kind of the only thing I didn't like about it. We get to see 3 different artists, 3 different writers, so I don't know if I totally like that. But we learned stories about our, not heroes, but our villains, and how they're all cool, pretty much. They show off with each other, which is hilarious. They're like, yeah, I defeated Hercules. Well, I defeated Hercules too, and then in the end, Hercules finds out everything they said and starts beating them up. So I liked it because it's what villains, I think B-list villains would do. It's like, yeah, well, I defeated Spider-Man, so even though they didn't actually defeat Spider-Man, and as the audience we see that, but they're totally bragging to their friends. So I like the 3 different stories. I think we get to see the personalities of all 3 of these characters. I knew who Beetle was, so I don't know if we really need that one. But we get to see, I'm going to see their names, so we do get to see Speed Demon Overdrive story, which I feel like are 2 characters we really haven't seen much of. So I really like their stories, and I like Beetle's story too, because I really do like her character. I think she's hilarious, and she has really cool potential, and I really enjoy these villains. So I'm going to give this 4 stars. Again, it's a little bit of a filler issue, but if you don't really know much about these characters, this is actually a really good jumping off point. So I'm going to give it 4 stars. Yeah, so it was a solid issue. I liked it. Alright, so that was issue 10 of Superior Foes. Now I think we're up to 5 now, I think. We're number 6. We are up to top 5 now, right? And these are all really good issues, just saying what we're getting up to now. So, here we go. Number 5 is Superior Spider-Man Annual, issue 2. A really, really good read. And I would say actually has to do with Goblin Nation. I would say if you're reading Goblin Nation, this is an important issue. If you don't read it, I would say it's more with the supporting characters, so it's not about Spider-Man, but it's really important for supporting characters, especially if you like Harley. Because Ben, in this issue, Ben Urich, you know, a main Spider-Man character for a very long time, he's a reporter, and that's all he is now. He's lost everything in his life. He lost his nephew, obviously, his family, and now all he is a reporter. And he tries to redeem his nephew, and he sees that's impossible. That's really what this story is about. He sees that redeeming his nephew is impossible, and he gives up on it, and now he's just there to report the story. And also the Carly Cooper story is that they're trying to heal her, and in the end they do. That's pretty much the Carly Cooper story in a nutshell. They heal Carly even though she's trying to resist. She's the only goblin that's really trying to resist this serum, but the goblin is taking over. And when it does, she's healed. We'll have to see if she survives. We don't know if the serum actually works. So it seemed like she's calm, but will those vitals stay? And I'm sure they're going to reference this in issue 30 of Superior Spider-Man if they talk about Carly, because I don't see them retelling this story. I think they did this that way they have room for more of the Spider-Man story. So I really liked it. I thought this was a really solid issue. I didn't quite like that they split the 2 stories though. I think they could have intertwined the Carly and the Ben and Phil story. It definitely could have been intertwined, especially because I liked the art for the first story a lot more than I did the second story. And, you know, it's a high price tag, and there were times where I'm like, alright, get to the picture, but this was a really solid issue that I totally enjoyed, because we get to see the supporting characters shine here, where maybe we wouldn't have time Superior Spider-Man to do. So, 4 stars. Really like this, especially for a Carly and Ben fan. The narration was great, the art was great in the beginning, and the only thing I would say, you know, have this consistent art for the whole issue, and have the Carly and Phil story intertwined, because they kind of did in the first part, but then they just ended the Carly story with that second part. So yeah, I'm going to give this 4 stars. Definitely deserves to be in the top 5. Really like this issue. Great issue. So I'm going to give that 4 stars. Very solid issue. Almost 4.5. But really liked it. But it was a high price tag. So. Alright, number 4, which I expected to be a little higher, but it is Animal Man, issue 29. I really expected this to be, like, number 1, because I love Animal Man. And I like this finale. I did like the finale, but it is just a 4-star book. I like the emotion of this, I do, but it was really repeating the whole story in general. And, you know, in a really great way, but because it is number 4, I did enjoy this, but I expected this to be a 5-star book. So I was a little disappointed because we get to see Maxine. She doesn't have her powers anymore because Animal Man's like, I'll be the Avatar, I'll do this. This is my job, this is not my family's job. Which is really what the whole story is about. You know, his family did give up on him for a little while, and they made up. And that was a really cool thing about the series. It's always been about the family. Now, Animal Man's like, yeah, this is a job. It's a 9-to-5 job, but after that, I'm done. You know, I'm with my family. So, in the end, I think this was a good ending for that, because they didn't bring back their son, you know, Cliff. You know, if they did, I feel like that would have been a total cop-out. It's like living with their son dying, which was a tremendous part of the series. So, I enjoyed it. I was a little disappointed that Maxine's powers were taken away. I thought that was really cool, that she was the Avatar and her father wasn't. I thought that was a cool family dynamic story, and it made Maxine's character really interesting. And the whole issue is really Maxine telling her story, again, really in a child's point of view, but it worked really well. I didn't really like Lemire's art. I don't really like his art, besides for Trillium, because that's all we know with his art. I do think his art's a little sloppy, so I didn't love the art for that, but also it was like storybook telling, so I was like okay with it, because the beginning was actually the first art, that horror type art that we didn't get since that volume 1 of Animal Man. So solid issue, a little bit of a quick read, honestly. So I really liked this. It was conflicted because I liked the issue. I thought it was a really sweet, tender moment, but there were some disappointments here too. And that's a disappointment of a great issue. So I'm going to give this 4 stars. It definitely deserves to be 4th on the list, but I wanted this to be #1, and it just didn't quite make it. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it didn't make it, but this is a really touching issue. And if you haven't read Animal Man, this is actually a really good recap issue too, if you are going to jump into Justice League Unlimited and want to learn more about Animal Man. So it's actually a really good, like, 0 issue for that. So I'm going to give that 4 stars, and that's #4. Alright, #3 is Miss Marvel, issue 2. Still really like this series. I thought this was a really cool read. We get to see Miss Marvel be a hero. She's not really knowing exactly what these powers are. She's learning a little bit more about them. And in the end of the issue, she learns she has powers, and everything she wanted to be kind of sucks. She's like, the blonde hair is in my face, the boots pinch, why the hell did I want this? And she does get in trouble in the end. She snuck out. Her parents know about it. And I feel like we do learn a lot about the parents and the family in the end of this issue. And what I love about this series is the culture and the different family dynamics. Really like that. And like the letter said in the end, it doesn't feel like a publicity stunt. It really does feel like a teenager story, just a different teenager story. That's really what I like about Miss Marvel. Again, looking at a different viewpoint of a character. Really like this issue. I don't think it was as good as issue 1, but I still really enjoyed this one because we learn a little bit more about Miss Marvel's character, humorous dialogue, and makes you really enjoy the character. And what I loved about that issue 1 was from page 1, I liked the character, and from this issue, I like the character even more, and I can't wait to see where the series grows to. So really enjoyed this. It really is a teenager realizing she has powers, but what the hell do I do with them? So looking forward to issue 3, and that's why I really put this high on my list, because I really was looking forward to issue 3 after reading this. So really liked Miss Marvel. I'm going to give that 4.5 stars. Really good issue. So that is Miss Marvel #3. #2 is something really surprising that's high on my list, and that is Harley Quinn issue 4. I feel like this series has been lacking a lot, and it really did not lack in this issue. Maybe because I could relate to it. This is a relatable story to me, so but in a way is a dark comedy. Because in this story, Harley is now a therapist for old people. She works at a nursing home, and this woman says, my children never visit, I hate them. And then we realize that Harley's attacking this family. It's like, why the hell is she attacking this family? She was just at a therapy office. So she's attacking this family, and we realize this is actually her patient. And the patient has Alzheimer's, so she's not lying, but she is misunderstanding. Actually, her family does see her every week, and I do personally know someone with Alzheimer's. So again, it's a little bit of a dark comedy because it is the sad part of someone having Alzheimer's, but it's funny because that really does happen. They do forget, and they're gonna forget that they see him every week. And I did think that was kind of on the funny part. I thought it was very humorous, and I like this because I did connect with it. So I really did like this issue. I thought it was funny, which I feel like Harley Quinn should be, and I really connected with the story. The only thing I didn't like about it was probably the derby part. I felt like that could have been left out. I feel like the only story we really needed was the therapy story. There's other stories going on that I felt could have been cut out just to have more of the therapy story. And I love the twist of it. I really did not expect the family to be connected to that patient. So finding that out was, it's humorous. And it really was a twist. So I enjoyed this issue. And after that, I'm like, wow, I actually really enjoyed it. So I'm going to give this 4.5. It was a surprise to me because I loved Harley Quinn issue 0. Ever since then, it's been a little lacking. But this was a really funny series, a really funny issue, a good story, good twist, and looking forward to seeing more. So again, not a 5-star book because it did have some lacking with the derby story, like why is that there? Rather just have the therapy story, but this was a really good issue. So I'm going to give this 4.5, and that's my #2 issue of the week. Really funny issue. I recommend this one. I'm really glad that Harley Quinn's back on track. Alright, so #1 is Daredevil issue 1. Just love this issue. I know Daredevil's been like my pick of the week for like 3 months in a row now. But Mark Waid just keeps hitting it out of the park with this series. I'm sad that I jumped late on the first Mark Waid series because it's such a good series. Look at this art. It's the same art. It's the same story, just different setting. And they make fun of that a lot in this issue, which is great. We get to see now that Daredevil is in San Francisco. So he's lived in New York all his life. So he knows the building. He knows, and someone that goes to New York City all the time. I go to New York City every day. I really do connect with the story because you know the building, you know the rhythm. So now that, Daredevil doesn't know the rhythm of San Francisco, he makes mistakes, and he's trying to save this girl, and we realize it's really a thriller at the same time. We realize this girl's a bomb, and we're racing throughout the whole issue. It's a page turner, because you're like, who's going to survive? Why is this happening? And as you're jumping from building to building, we find out answers. And then an awesome connection was McDuffie being in this issue. She's the new sidekick, which I loved. A character I really connected with with the first series. I'm glad that they're utilizing her in the second and really becoming more of a love interest, more of a character, and becoming more of the Daredevil stuff. And also Daredevil's secret identity being revealed. They used that. They utilized that. So such a great issue, and then a great cliffhanger because they asked about Foggy, and Foggy has died, but he truly hasn't. So such a great cliffhanger, and this is a perfect issue. Pacing was great. There was a suspense. There was good issue. There was good character moments. The art is amazing. There is nothing bad about this issue. It was new reader friendly. They were describing things that happened in past issues. This is a perfect Marvel Now issue. A perfect Daredevil issue. A perfect issue in general. If you're not reading Daredevil, this was great. I loved it. The thrill was great. The story was great. Can't wait to see more. Loved it. I just did. I'm glad that they're in a different setting. It did not ruin the pacing of this series. Did not ruin the feel of the series. Mark Waid is doing a brilliant job with this series. So loved it. 5 stars. Can't wait to read more of this. That was a pick of the week, but there's a lot of great comics this week also. Really a cool week this week. I really enjoyed it. So hope you guys enjoyed. Please tell me in comments below what you thought about the comics this week. This is Comic Uno, and I am back ready than ever to do more comic book reviews. We'll be back. I'll be back with my regular schedule this coming week. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno. And guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and their own situations. Don't forget to watch Comic Uno episode 41 next week. And I will see you guys later. Bye.